Good morning. For this lesson, we are going to be looking at metric measures and reminding ourselves of what they are. So remember, there are two types of measurements. There's metric measure and imperial measure. So metric measures are things like centimetres, litres, millimetres, things that we use today, whereas imperial measures are things like yards and inches that we used to use. So first of all, we need to match the metric measurements to their abbreviations. So abbreviation just means that what it's shortened to. So we've got kilograms, centimetres, kilometres and metres, and we've got km, ml, kg, cm. So kilogram would match with kg, centimetres would match with cm, kilometres would match with km, and millimetres would match with ml. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So it says match the unit of measure to their correct category. So we've got weight, length and volume. We've got millimetres, grams, litres and centilitres. Just pause the video for a second and have a go at those. You don't need to write anything down to do it in your heads. So length is probably the easiest one to do. I know that length goes to millimetres because I know that there are millimetres on a ruler and I measure the length of things with a ruler. Weight, so how heavy something is, I'm going to link to grams because I know that if I want to know how heavy a bag of sugar is, for example, it might be 500 grams or it might be 1,000 grams. Volume is the slightly trickier one. So the volume is how much of something there is. So for example, the volume of a bottle of water would be 500 millilitres. So I'm going to join that one to litres and to centilitres, okay? They've both got litres in their name, therefore I'm going to link them both together. Let's remind ourselves of our metric conversions. So 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams, 100 centimetres equals 1 metre, 1,000 kilometres equals 1 tonne, 1 kilometre equals 1,000 metres, 1 litre equals 1,000 millilitres, and 1 litre equals 100 centilitres. So in order to convert them then, you multiply or divide by either 1,000 or 100. So if you have a look at kilograms to grams, there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram, therefore you multiply or divide by 1,000. Metres to centimetres or centimetres to metres, there are 100 centimetres in 1 metre, so you multiply or divide by 100. Kilometres to tonnes, multiply or divide by 1,000. Kilometres to metres, multiply or divide by 1,000. Litres to millilitres, multiply divide by 1,000 again, and litres to centilitres, multiply divide by 100 this time. Let's have a look at this question. The children are estimating how much water is needed to fill a paddling pool. So Tracy says, I think it will be around 30 millilitres. Jackson says, I think it will be around 30 litres. Who do you agree with and why? So let's just take a moment to think about this. If we picture a bottle of water, you could have a small bottle of water which would hold 500 millilitres, or you could have a large bottle of water which could hold up to 2 litres. So remember, that's 2,000 millilitres. Have a think about how big your paddling pool would be. Pretend you're pouring that bottle of water into that paddling pool. Would it fill the paddling pool? Pause the video and have a go at that. So my answer then would be, I agree with Jackson because 1 litre is 1,000 millilitres and a bottle of water could be 1 litre. This means that 30 millilitres is less than 1 litre, therefore a paddling pool must hold around 30 litres of water. Because if you think about a small bottle of water that's 500 millilitres, so quite a lot more than 30 millilitres, and you pour that into your paddling pool, it will hardly fill any of it. Let's have a look at this one. A pencil is approximately 20 centimetres in length. Estimate the lengths for the following: a table leg, a pencil case, a water bottle and a rubber. So think about that 20 centimetres that pencil is. Relate all of these to that pencil. Pause the video and have a go. So a table leg, I will give you within 1 metres to 1.5 metres. So if you're anywhere between there, you can have the mark. For a pencil case, anywhere between 25 centimetres and 30 centimetres. For a water bottle, anywhere between 45 centimetres and 50 centimetres. And for a rubber, anywhere between 4 centimetres and 6 centimetres. If you have converted, so for example, you've converted 4 centimetres and 6 centimetres into 40 millimetres and 60 millimetres, you can also have the mark. Let's have a look at this one. Millie is measuring the distance that her friends have to walk around the playground. So we've got Hafsa and we've got Luke. So Hafsa walks 1 something and Luke walks 880 something. But Millie's forgotten to write the unit of measurement. So which unit of measure could she be using for each distance? Convince me. Okay, so have a think about it. They are both walking around the same playground, okay? So you're going to have to choose 2 different units of measure. Because, for example, if you were using centimetres, if Hafsa walked 1 centimetre, we'll use metres actually. So if Hafsa walked 1 metre and Luke walked 880 metres, there's quite a difference between the distance that they've both walked. But because they're walking around the same playground, they must have walked a similar distance. So think about what unit of measure you could use. Pause the video and have a go. So I have used 1 kilometre and 880 metres. And my reason, so my convince me part, is I chose these measurements because 1,000 metres is 1 kilometre, which means that both of their measurements are roughly the same, okay? Because if 1,000 metres is 1 kilometre, 880 metres isn't that far away from 1,000 metres. Also, if it was any smaller unit of measure, such as centimetres, the distance could be walked with 1 step. Okay, so it's a more plausible unit of measure to be measuring the distance in. Let's have a look at this one then. So true or false, correct any mistakes. So we've got 1.7 kilometres is equal to 1.700 kilometres, which is equal to 1,700 metres. We've got 10,001 gram is smaller than 10.1 kilogram, which is larger than 0.1 tons. And then the last one is the trickier one. So the 3 volumes shown are correctly ordered from smallest to greatest. So the first thing that I would do for this one is I would convert all of my units of measure into the same one. So I would convert to millilitres, because that means that you don't have to work with decimals. Pause the video now and have a go at those 3. So A is true, because 1.7 kilometres is the same as 1.700 kilometres, and that is equal to 1,700 metres. B is false, because if we convert them all to grams, we've got 10,001 gram, 10,100 grams, and 100,000 grams. So the arrows are incorrect. So we needed to say that 10,001 gram is smaller than 10.1 kilograms, which is smaller than 0.1 tons. Okay, and then for C, if we converted our units of measure, we've got 2,215 millilitres, followed by 2,200 millilitres, well done if you read the cylinder correctly, and 2,250 millilitres. So this one is false because the tank and the cylinder need swapping around because this one has a larger volume than the tank. Well done if you got those right. Okay, have a look at this then. So this one is similar to the last one that we did on the last page. So again, we've got a cylinder that you've got to work out what the measurement is. So it's going up in 200s. Okay, so you've got 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, which is 1 litre, and so on and so on. So you've got to convert them first of all, and again I would convert into millilitres first. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so if I convert all of my litres into millilitres, I have got my bottle of pop at 3,500 millilitres. The tank holds 3,450 millilitres. the cylinder holds 3,600 millilitres and the bucket holds 3,550 millilitres. Okay, so for my answer, I would say this is false because once you have converted them to the same unit of measure, you can see that 3.5 litres, which is this one, so 3,500 millilitres, is larger than 3,450 millilitres, and 3,600 millilitres, which is this cylinder here, is larger than 3.55 litres because that's 3,550 millilitres. So the order should be from smallest to largest: tank, followed by the bucket, followed by the bottle of pop, followed by the measuring cylinder. Well done if you got that one correct. Have a look at this one then. So it says, explain if each statement is correct or not, giving a reason. So A, 100 of these rulers put together could measure 15 metres. B, 1,000 of these rulers put together would make a distance greater than a kilometre. And C, if I had a pencil point measuring 0.5 millimetres, I would need 300 of them to make a length equal to the length this ruler can measure. Okay. Think about these carefully. Remember your conversions. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so for A then, the ruler is 15 centimetres long. Okay, so 100 centimetres is equal to 1 metre. So this means that 15 centimetres would be 0.15 metres. Okay, so if we want 100 of these rulers together, I'm going to do 0.15 times by 100, which equals 15 metres. Therefore, this one is true. For B, 1,000 of these rulers put together would make a distance greater than a kilometre. I'm going to do 15, okay, for 15 centimetres, multiplied by 1,000, sorry, because I want 1,000 of these rulers, okay, which makes 15 metres, which means that is incorrect. Okay, so it's false. And C, if I had a pencil point measuring 0.5 millimetres, I would need 300 of them to make a length equal to the length this ruler can measure. Okay, so if we multiply 0.5 millimetres by 2, that means we get 1 millimetre. Okay, so if there are 20 multiplied by 0.5 millimetres, okay, because there's 20. So if I do 20 times 0.5 millimetres, I would get 1 centimetre because there's 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So that means there's 20 0.5 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So from there then, I want to do 15 times by 20, okay, because I've got 15 centimetres and I'm timesing it by 20, okay, because I've got 20 lots of 0.5 millimetres, which would give me 300. Therefore, this one is true. Patsy the postal worker is arranging some parcels on the shelves in the post office. So the shelf measures 1.12 metres. How could she arrange 3 parcels so that they sit on the shelf with no gaps? So it says, think about turning the parcels round so they fit. Okay, so make sure you try all the possibilities. So the first thing you are going to do is, that's right, you're going to convert, and then you're going to try and add the parcels together to see if you can fit them on the shelves. Pause the video now and have a go. So there's 2 answers that you could have. So I'm going to convert first of all to centimetres. So 1.12 metres equals 112 centimetres. So you could have 42 centimetres, add 22.5 centimetres, or the 225 millimetres that's up here, add 47.5 centimetres, which is this 0.475 metres here, which equals 112 centimetres. Or you could have 35 centimetres, which is this 350 millimetres, add 22.5 centimetres, which is this 225 millimetres, add 47.5, which again is this 0.75 metres, which equals 105 centimetres. Well done if you got one of those options. Okay, so here we've got a code breaker. So you've got to convert the measure to the unit required. Okay, so for example, here you've got 7.5 kilometers. You need to change that, so you've got to convert that to meters. So in order to convert that to meters, you're going to multiply by 1,000. Okay, so that would put your answer in there, and then you would find your letter up here and put the letter underneath. Okay, so once you've done that, it will answer the question, what do sprinters eat before they have a race? Pause the video now and have a go. And these are your answers. Okay, so your answer to the question, what do sprinters eat before they have a race, would be nothing, they fast. Okay, well done if you got that correct. I'll speak to you soon.